But on the topic of the sick with the Antifa guy and the Project Veritas thing, you're absolutely right. That is just the lowest hanging fruit that they were able to scoop up and to identify. There have been reports all across the country. We've got the woman making the kids swear pledge allegiance to the queer flag in their classroom. Pledge allegiance to the queers, she says. This is on TikTok. It's been widely disseminated. It's not me being hateful or anything. There is very clear evidence where people say, well, you know what? It doesn't matter that the kids lost learning time and can read more poorly today compared to last year because we taught them what a riot was. We taught them what an insurrection was. We taught them what, white systems of oppression are. So all of these people, again, this goes back to exactly what the problem is in Afghanistan, aside from the competing military or monetary interests, is that the attention of our education apparatus is focused on the wrong thing. The attention of our education apparatus is focused on making these kids into little revolutionaries that pledge allegiance to the queer flag, that don't care about reading and math, but they only care about learning about rioting and insurrections. And that is what is happening. So therefore, every other result is negative because the primary attention is put on the wrong thing.
It's rot.
Yes, institutional rot.
It is institutional rot. It is the core foundations that make up the country and our culture are rotting and decaying. And well,
they're being poisoned. They're not just rotting and decaying. They're being poisoned. They're being deliberately sabotaged, right? We have saboteurs among us. That teacher is a saboteur.
Right.
Okay. Public people will argue with me, but go back to the source documents, folks. The public education system in America was established to create a sense of patriotism in America.
This teacher is being fired. This was the latest update we have from Post Millennial. Antifa teacher set to be fired by school after attempting to radicalize children. Apparently he's been doing it for years.
Wow.
But I'll tell you about
but did you see the T-shirt he was wearing when they confronted him?
Oh, when Veritas did? What was it?
It was a freaking sickle.
He's got the tattoo, dude.
He was wearing a sickle.
He's got a tattoo
T-shirt.
on his chest, bro.
Yeah, it's right there.
He's got a tattoo on his chest. So the institutional rot. Let me tell you a story. So we at timcast.com are hiring a bunch of fierce and independent journalists.
Best $10 I spend every month.
We're doing a great job, and we had a story about a truck full of Moderna vaccines crashing, and there was limited information on it, and we thought it was a big deal. And so Timcast reporters start investigating and figure out what's going on with this truck. And it's a crazy story. So I tweeted we ended up learning from the local emergency response in West Virginia where this happened that the DOD took over and the locals were not allowed to give statements to the press. And I said, wow. Now, the truth is the Department of Defense works with the HHS and they have jurisdiction over vaccine shipments. So when it happened, they're like, hey, we're going to be handling this. So it's not like there was a grand conspiracy or anything. And I never said that. I tweeted out something bad happened. Truck crashes, carrying Moderna vaccine, airspace gets shut down, hazmat comes out, and now the DOD is taking over. And I guess a lot of people immediately assume conspiracies. And what ends up happening is an article gets written claiming that I'm a conspiracy theorist, that I didn't accurately inform any of my followers about what really happened, even though I posted a link to the story. Now, it's something I want to get off my chest and just mention because it was like an example of something affecting me, but I also think it's a good example of institutional rot. That there is someone who knows my story was 100% true, 100% factual, and I never implied there was a grand conspiracy. I genuinely was like, whoa, a vaccine truck flipped over. This is crazy. The DOD's on it. Isn't that crazy? We were worried, like, did they lose a shipment of vaccines? Because they weren't telling us. And then we got a statement saying, don't worry, we were able to recover all the vaccine. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't implying that, like, aliens were coming or any crazy stuff, but someone had to write about it. And they had to twist it and frame it in such a ridiculous and absurd way that people who will read that will have their minds warped. That is just one example I experienced recently, but I'm sure everybody knows the examples of how the media lies, cheats, and manipulates, like Shinzo Abe and Trump. When he throws the fish food in, they fake it, or the very fine people hoax. And so what's happening now, and the reason why I think you see these schools focusing on the wrong thing, is it's the whole system of our institutions has been twisted and corrupted by the most absurd and extreme hyper-individualism. There's no national unity. There's no sense of community. There's no scruples. This writer at this news outlet didn't say to himself, I can't write that. That's not true. He went, how can I twist this in the worst way possible to get some clicks? Because I don't care about what happens to this country. I don't care what happens to my community. I don't care what happens to the people. These schools bring these people in, and these principals and these superintendents, the ones who haven't been truly indoctrinated, are like, I'm not going to stick my neck out when this teacher does this stuff, because why should I put myself on the line for the sake of the future of this country, our children? And what ends up happening then is, over a decade of this happening, eventually the people running the institutions are in the cult, and their minds are warped and twisted, and then they seek out more of it. The way I view this problem, the easiest way to understand it is to look up the YouTube video of Hitler with a woman's body doing Tai Chi with the Incredible Hulk, where nursery rhymes are being sang.
I'm going to do that right
Because this video exemplifies the broken, fractured, algorithmic dystopia that we're living in. These videos were going viral. People were making them because the algorithm was feeding them to babies. That is something. So we as adults can see that video and say, this is insanity. Why are children being fed this video? Babies can't understand that because they have no frame of reference. They just see this and that's life. For the rest of us, spending 10 years going through the broken media ecosystem, the lies, the fake news, and the algorithmic manipulation, we can't tell. Adults who live in it are the same as the babies being born into it. We can see the one thing because it's so crazy. We can't see the crazy in front of us.